Wow. What's up, Menace soldiers? I'm Alliance, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about episode 7 of The Mandalorian, so if you haven't seen it, go watch that, then come back and watch this. There are going to be spoilers, obviously, because if we want to talk in full depth, we have to talk about spoilers. So there you go. Now, before we actually jump into episode 7, I actually didn't do a review for episode 6, so let me just kind of give my brief thoughts on that one. I thought episode 6 of The Mandalorian was pretty good. I thought the whole crew dynamic was cool. I remember, like, with the old SWTOR games I used to play, the bounty hunter character, he would have his own crew, and then you guys would just go around the galaxy just kind of looking for things and hunting people down, and, you know, your story would kind of feel like a crew dynamic, even though you were one character. You were running around with a bunch of other characters. Now, of course, as we find out near the end of that episode, Mando got betrayed, and I kind of feel like I saw it coming. So he got betrayed, but then he got revenge on them anyways, and so they're taken care of. Overall, I thought episode 6 was pretty good. I don't think it was like the best episode we've seen yet, and it definitely wasn't the worst. Episode 4 is still the worst out of the entire series so far. Although I like the idea of the, you know, the White Knight coming to the village to save the people and teaching them how to fight. I get that idea. However, while I didn't particularly like episode 4 of The Mandalorian, I gotta say it had introduced a shock trooper, and while she was a little rough in that one, in episode 7, she's pretty good. So I'll talk about her as I get more into that episode. So yeah, like I said, episode 6 is pretty good. Nothing really massive happened in that episode, but it was a cool little adventure, and that's cool. Now let's jump into episode 7, because episode 7, this was probably my favorite episode. And the crazy thing about this episode is that not many things actually happen in it, but the whole setup to the adventure and then the ending, man. The ending. I'm not actually crying. I'm a man. I'm a big, strong man. So I'll do a brief synopsis first, and then I'm gonna jump into what I actually think of the certain things in the episode. So first off, it starts off with the Mandalorian. He gets a call from Apollo Creed. Apollo Creed's like, yo, come back over here. You know, all debts are forgiven. You know, I shot you, you shot me. Let's be buddies. Let's go deal with this guy, so then these guys aren't coming to hunt down your baby anymore, and you'll be free to go. So the Mando likes the idea of taking down the Imperial, who is sending all these people after him and the baby, so he goes and reassembles his crew. So we get the shock trooper from episode 4, and we get the Ugnaught from episode 1. And the Ugnaught actually repaired the droid from episode 1 who was going to kill the baby, and now that droid is on his team. So that's pretty cool. It kind of has like his own little companion of sorts. As they're going, Apollo Creed actually gets hurt, he gets poisoned, and then Baby Yoda actually uses the Force to save him from dying. And that was actually a really cool scene. So from there, Apollo Creed was initially going to betray them, but he decides to now join them, and they're going to take down this Imperial guy together. Well, it turns out that Imperial guy himself has actually just been betrayed by another Imperial who has now captured Baby Yoda, and unfortunately our favorite Ugnaught has died. So that is how the episode ends, with Baby Yoda being taken away by some Imperials, and Mando, the shock trooper, and Apollo Creed being like stuck down by a bunch of death troopers and stormtroopers. So this is how I feel about this stuff. So right off the bat, the beginning of this episode introduces the idea of Apollo Creed trying to be nice and like trying to be a friend to the Mando. And we realize real quick, you know, this is a betrayal. I think the show initially tries to make us believe like it's not a betrayal, but it's obviously a betrayal. However, the Mandalorian quickly realizes this, and he goes and assembles the team. So first off, I just wanted to talk about the shock trooper. In episode 4, I thought she was a little rough. I thought like the actress didn't quite know her character yet, and it kind of seemed like it just wasn't really her. But in this episode, she is so much more better. You can tell she's much more comfortable with the role. She has spent an entire episode being this character, so by this point, I think she really comes into the role, and I like her like that. Then we go get the Ugnaught, and the Ugnaught's pretty cool. I like the idea that he rebuilt the droid, and I'm sure we're gonna see that droid again. He's gonna be a big part of helping them get out of that whole sticky situation, I'm guessing. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what's actually going to happen. Now, there is this one scene where these dragons attack them at a campfire, and it takes one dude, it takes like one of those little ugly lizard horses that they're riding around, and it's just a rough scene. I don't think it's a bad scene, it's just rough because it feels so TV showy the way it is. And there are these like 7 people firing blasters into the skies at these dragons, and they only kill one. And it's just like, it's a little too TV show for me, because like if this was a movie and they didn't have to, you know, kind of fill in extra time, I think that they would have been able to show more of these dragons dying. but it wasn't that big of a deal. It's kind of like a nitpick on my part. I mean, that could just be me, honestly, but it does feel a little weird compared to the rest of the episode. So the cool thing about this episode is that we get like a triple cross type of situation. The majority of the episodes so far had a double cross type of thing. Like, here's this situation with the Mando. Oh, he got crossed. Okay, now he's gonna double cross it to fix it. But this one has, here's a situation with the Mando. He gets crossed by Apollo Creed, and then Apollo's joins with him to cross the Imperials. And that Imperial leader got crossed by Gus from Breaking Bad. And so there's so many different crosses going on in this episode, and I really like that because it definitely appeals to the idea of The Mandalorian, which is this space cowboy adventure. So I like that idea. Now, in the very end, we lose our Ugnaught companion, and Yodi gets taken by the Imperials, and that's just sad. I knew episode 8 is probably going to solve this issue, but man, it was so sad to see him go. However, I do have a theory on this, and now let's jump into what I think is going to happen in episode 8. So episode 8 is going to be the finale to season 1. Here's what I think. I think the way they're gonna get out of there is that IG unit that the Ugnaught helped rebuild and kind of like raise. I mean, there's even like a little montage in the beginning of this episode where the Ugnaught's like, I had to retrain him from pretty much from birth to kind of like teach him how to be a droid and how to help people and stuff like that. So not only was he reprogrammed, he was also raised almost. So in a way, the Ugnaught is like his dad. So I think once the IG unit finds his dead dad, he's going to want to join up with the Mandalorian. And that's going to be a cool dynamic for the Mandalorian to have to like face. The idea of, here's this droid that almost killed my baby, you know, because Yodi is kind of like the Mandalorian's baby. Here's this droid that almost killed my baby. In the past, droids killed me. I really don't trust these droids, but this droid is really helpful and he just saved me from these Imperials. So I have to allow him to stay because in a way, while the Ugnaught is gone, the Ugnaught passed on his everything to this droid. So I think that's a pretty cool dynamic that they'll introduce more into season 2, but I think that's going to be really cool to introduce into episode 8, which I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. The IG unit's actually going to help them escape, or maybe fly the ship over so they can hop on and fly out of there. I don't know. Now the big question for me is, and you can answer this in the comments too, I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think that the Mandalorian is going to get Yodi back before the episode actually ends? Or do you think that Gus from Breaking Bad is going to take Yodi and like just take him, and then we won't see what happens until season 2. I'm almost certain they're going to save Yodi. I don't think Gus is gonna die. And I also think that like Apollo Creed might possibly join their crew. So in the end of the episode, we're gonna have the Shock Trooper, we're gonna have Mando, we're gonna have Yodi, and we're gonna have IG, and they're all gonna be teamed up and heading off to the next adventure. I don't think they're gonna get off easy though. I definitely think Gus is going to survive, and he's going to want to come after them more. So that might happen, might not. Maybe the IG unit actually goes after the troopers who took Yodi. I don't know. That'd be a pretty cool little symbolism going on, especially considering in the first episode of this season, the IG unit tried to kill Yodi, and now in the last episode, the IG unit saves him. So that would be a really cool dynamic to kind of introduce as well. So overall, this episode is probably the best in the series so far, and I cannot wait to see what happens in episode 8. But what did you guys think? Did you like this episode? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and turn notifications for more to support the channel. I would definitely appreciate it. Thanks again, guys. I'll catch you later. Peace. Also, I didn't really mention this at the beginning of this review, but I kind of feel like I should say something about it. They completely murdered Hux's character in this. In episode 7, Hux was at least competent, but in this film, every time he shows up, I feel like there should be like a laugh track or something behind it.
Win. Have no ruler. Don't get distracted. I'll go. Supremely.
And while it's funny, it also sucks because he's supposed to be like our new Tarkin-esque character, and he's just kind of like a new Jar Jar. But I guess that's an argument that could be raised about this entire trilogy. We're not really afraid of any of our villains. Snoke was kind of scary, but that issue is solved, so Yeah? Not to mention the fact that Phasma's gone after doing nothing, so we're left with Kylo and Hux, and while Kylo is handled much better in this film compared to Episode 7, he still doesn't compare to the villainous prowess of Darth Vader, and that's unfortunate.